Chapter 32. Chapters on Dress. It was narrated that Aisha said, "The Messenger of Allah prayed in a kamisa that had markings on it. Then he said, 'These markings distracted me. Take it to Abu Jam and bring me an Ambijaniya.'" It was narrated that Abu Burda said, "I entered upon Aisha, and she brought out to me a thick waist wrap of the type made in Yemen, and one of those cloaks, and one of these cloaks that are called Mulabada, and she swore to me that the Messenger of Allah had passed away in them." Grade Sahih. It was narrated from Ubadah bin Samit that the Messenger of Allah prayed in a shamla tied with a knot. Grade Da'if. It was narrated that Anas bin Malik said, "I was with the Messenger of Allah, and over him was a Najrani upper wrap with a thick border." Grade Sahih. It was narrated that Aisha said, "I never saw the Messenger of Allah insulting anyone, and no garment was ever folded up for him." Grade Da'if. It was narrated from Sa'al bin Sa'd Sa'idi that a woman came to the Messenger of Allah with a woven sheet. He said, What type of woven sheet?" He said, "Ash-shamala." She said, "O Messenger of Allah, I have woven this with my own hands for you to wear." The Messenger of Allah took it since he needed it. He came out to us wearing it as a lower wrap. So and so, the son of so and so, a man whose name he told that day, said, "O Messenger of Allah, how beautiful this sheet is. Let me wear it." He said, "Yes." When he went inside, he folded it up and sent it to him. The people said to him, "By Allah, you have not done well. The Prophet wore it because he needed it. Then you asked for it, and you knew that he would not refuse anyone who asked him for something." He said, "By Allah, I did not ask for it so that I could wear it. Rather, I asked for it so that it could be my shroud." Sa'al said, "And it became his shroud the day he died." Grade Sahih. It was narrated that Anas said, "The Messenger of Allah wore wool and sandals, and he wore coarse, rough garments." Grade Da'if. It was narrated that Abu Umama said, Umar bin Khattab put on a new garment and said, "Alhamdulillahil ladi kasani ma uvari bihi avrati va ata jamalu bihi fi hayati." Praise is to Allah who has clothed me in something with which I conceal my nakedness and adorn myself in my life. Then he said, "I heard the Messenger of Allah say, whoever puts on a new garment and says, Alhamdulillahil ladi kasani ma uvari bihi avrati va ata jamalu bihi fi hayati, praise be to Allah, who has clothed me in something with which I conceal my nakedness and adorn myself in my life, then takes the garment that has worn out, or that he had taken off, and gives it in charity, he will be under the shelter, protection, and care of Allah, whether he lives or dies." He said this 3 times. Grade Da'if. It was narrated from Ibn Umar that the Messenger of Allah saw Umar wearing a white shirt, and he said, "Is this garment of yours washed or a new one?" He said, "Rather it has been washed." He said, "Ilbas jadida wa ish hamida wa mut shahida." May you wear new clothes, live a good life, and die as martyr. Grade Daif. It was narrated from Abu Sa'id al-Khudri that the Prophet forbade two kinds of dress. Those two types of dress are ishtimalus sama and ittiba, in a single garment with no part of it upon his private part. Grade Sahih. It was narrated from Abu Huraira that the Messenger of Allah forbade two kinds of dress, ishtimalus sama and ittiba, exposing one's private part to the sky. Grade Sahih. It was narrated that Aisha said, the Messenger of Allah forbade two kinds of dress, ishtimalus sama and ittiba, in one garment, when you are exposing your private part to the sky. Grade Hassan. It was narrated from Abu Burda that his father said to him, O my son, if only you could have seen us when we were with the Messenger of Allah, when rain fell on us, you would have thought that we smelled like sheep. Grade Daif. It was narrated that Ubadah bin Samit said, the Messenger of Allah came out to us one day, wearing a Roman cloak of wool with narrow sleeves. He led us in prayer wearing that and nothing else. Grade Daif. It was narrated from Salman Farisi that the Messenger of Allah performed ablution, then he turned his woolen cloak that he was wearing inside out and wiped his face with it. Grade Daif. It was narrated that Anas bin Malik said, I saw the Messenger of Allah marking sheep on their ears, and I saw him wearing a cloak around his wrist. Grade Sahih. It was narrated from Ibn Abbas that the Messenger of Allah said, the best of your garments are the white ones, so wear them and shroud your dead in them. Grade Hassan. It was narrated from Samura bin Jundab that the Messenger of Allah said, wear white garments, for they are purer and better. Grade Hassan. It was narrated from Abu Darda that the Messenger of Allah said, the best of that in which you visit Allah in your graves and your mosque is white garments. Grade Daif. It was narrated from Ibn Umar that the Messenger of Allah said, whoever lets his garment drag out of pride, Allah will not look at him on the day of resurrection. Grade Sahih. It was narrated from Atiyah that Abu Sa'id said, the Messenger of Allah said, whoever lets his lower wrap drag out of pride, Allah will not look at him on the day of resurrection. He, Atiyah, said, I met Ibn Umar in Al-Balat, so I mentioned Abu Sa'id's hadith from the Prophet, so he said, and pointed to his ears, my two ears heard it, and my heart preserved it. Grade Sahih. It was narrated that a young man of Quraysh passed by Abu Huraira with his cloak dragging. He said, O my nephew, I heard the Messenger of Allah saying, whoever let his garment drag out of pride, Allah will not look at him on the day of resurrection. Grade Hassan. It was narrated that Hudayfa said, the Messenger of Allah took hold of the lower part of my calf, or his calf, and said, this is where the lower wrap should come to. If you insist, then lower, and if you insist, then lower, but the lower wrap has no right to come to the ankle. Grade Sahih. It was narrated from Allah bin al-Abdur Rahman that his father said, I said to Abu Sa'id, did you hear anything from the Messenger of Allah concerning the lower wrap? He said, yes, I heard the messenger of Allah say the lower wrap of the believer should come to mid-calf. But there is no sin on him if it comes between that point and the ankle, but whatever is lower than the ankle is in the fire. And he said 3 times, Allah will not look at the one who lets his lower wrap drag out of vanity. Great Sahih. It was narrated from Mughira bin Shuba that the messenger of Allah said, O Sufyan bin Sal, do not let your garment hang, for Allah does not like those who let their garments hang below the ankles. Great Hassan. It was narrated that Salama said, there was no garment more beloved to the messenger of Allah than the shirt. Great Hassan. It was narrated from Salim from his father that the Prophet said, hanging down may apply to the waist wrap, shirt or turban. Whoever lets any of these drag out of pride, Allah will not look at him on the day of resurrection. Great Hassan. It was narrated that Ibn Abbas said, the messenger of Allah used to wear a shirt that was short in the sleeves and length. Great Daif. Muawiyah bin Qurra narrated that his father said, I came to the messenger of Allah and gave him my pledge, and the buttons of his shirt were undone. Great Sahih. It was narrated that Suwayd bin Qais said, the Prophet came to us and haggled with us over the price of trousers. Great Sahih. It was narrated that Salama said, the messenger of Allah was asked about how long a woman's hem should hang down. He said, a handspan. I said, but then her legs and feet will be uncovered. He said, then a forearm's length, but no more than that. Great Sahih. It was narrated from Ibn Umar, the wives of the Prophet were allowed to let their hems hang down, so they used to come to us and we would measure 1 forearm's length for them with a reed. Great Daif. It was narrated from Abu Huraira that the Prophet said to Fatima or to Salama, let your hem down 1 forearm's length. Great Daif. It was narrated from Aisha that the Prophet said concerning how long a woman's hem should hang down, a handspan. Aisha said, this may show her calves. He said, then a forearm's length. Great Daif. It was narrated from Jafar bin Amr bin Hurayt that his father said, I saw the Prophet delivering a sermon on the pulpit wearing a black turban. Great Sahih. It was narrated from Jabir that the Prophet entered Mecca wearing a black turban. Great Sahih. It was narrated from Ibn Umar that the Prophet entered Mecca on the day of the conquest of Mecca wearing a black turban. Great Sahih. Jafar bin Amr bin Hurayt narrated that his father said, it is as if I can see the messenger of Allah wearing a black turban with the ends hanging down his shoulders. Great Sahih. It was narrated from Anas bin Malik that the messenger of Allah said, whoever wears silk in this world will not wear it in the hereafter. Great Sahih. It was narrated that Bara bin Asib said, the messenger of Allah forbade brocade, silk and embroidered brocade. Great Sahih. It was narrated that Hudayfa said, the messenger of Allah forbade wearing silk and gold. He said, they are for them in this world and for us in hereafter. Great Sahih. It was narrated from Abdullah bin Umar that Umar bin Khattab saw a silken 2-piece suit being offered for sale. He said, O Messenger of Allah, why don't you buy this two-piece suit to wear for meeting the delegations and on Fridays? The messenger of Allah said, this is only worn by one who has no share in the hereafter. Great Sahih. It was narrated from Anas bin Malik that the messenger of Allah granted a concession to Zubair bin Awam and Abdur Rahman bin Auf, allowing them to wear silk shirts because of a rash they were suffering from. Great Sahih. It was narrated from Umar that he used to forbid silk and brocade except for what was like this. Then he gestured with his finger, then a second and a third and a fourth, the width of 4 fingers, and he said, the messenger of Allah used to forbid it. Great Sahih. It was narrated that Abu Umar, the freed slave of Asma, said, I saw Ibn Umar buying a turban that had some markings. Then he called for a pair of scissors and cut that off. I entered upon Asma and mentioned that to her, and she said, May Abdullah perish, O girl. Give me the garment of the messenger of Allah. A garment was brought that was hemmed with brocade on the sleeves, necklines and openings at the front and back. Great Sahih. Ali bin Abu Talib said, the messenger of Allah took hold of some silk in his left hand and some gold in his right. Then he raised his hands and said, these two are forbidden for the males of my nation and permitted to the females. Females. Great Sahih. It was narrated from Ali that a two-piece suit hemmed with silk, either on the wrap or the weft, was given to the messenger of Allah, and he sent them to me, Ali. I came to him and said, O messenger of Allah, what should I do with these? Shall I wear them? He said, no, rather make them into headcloths and give them to the Fatimas. Great Hassan. It was narrated that Abdullah bin Umar said, the messenger of Allah came out to us, and in one of his hands was a garment of silk, and in the other was some gold. He said, these are forbidden to the males of my nation and permitted to the females. Great Sahih. It was narrated that Anas said, I saw Zainab, the daughter of the messenger of Allah, wearing a shirt of Siyara silk. Great Daif. It was narrated that Bara said, I never saw anyone more handsome than the messenger of Allah, with his hair combed, wearing a red two-piece suit. Great Sahih. Abdullah bin Burayda narrated that his father told him, I saw the messenger of Allah delivering a sermon, and Hassan and Hussein came forward, wearing red shirts, stumbling and getting up again. The Prophet stepped down, picked them up, and put them in his lap. Then he said, Allah and his messenger have spoken the truth. Your wealth and your children are only a trial. 64:15. I saw these two and I could not be patient. Then he resumed his sermon. Great Hassan. It was narrated that Ibn Umar said, the messenger of Allah forbade al-Mufadam. Great Hassan. It was narrated that Abdullah bin Hunayn said, I heard Ali say, the messenger of Allah forbade me, and I do not say that he forbade you from wearing clothes dyed with safflower. Great Sahih. It was narrated from Amr bin Shuaib from his father that his grandfather said, we came with the messenger of Allah, was Faniyat Adakir. He turned to me and I was wearing a thin cloak dyed with safflower and said, what is this? And I realized that he disliked it. I came to my family when they were heating their oven and threw it in the oven. Then I came to him the following day and he said, "O Abdullah, what happened to the thin cloak?" I told him what I had done, and he said, "Why did you not give it to some of your family to wear? For there is nothing wrong with it for women." Great Hassan. It was narrated that Qais bin Saad said, "The Prophet came to us and we gave him some water with which to cool down. He bathed, then I brought him a yellow blanket, and I saw the traces of wars, the yellow dye, on the folds of his stomach." Great Daif. It was narrated from Amr bin Shu'aib from his father that his grandfather said, "The Messenger of Allah said, eat and drink, give charity and wear clothes, as long as that does not involve any extravagance or vanity." Great Daif. It was narrated that Ibn Umar said, "The Messenger of Allah said, whoever wears a garment of pride and vanity, Allah will clothe him on the day of resurrection in a garment of humiliation." Great Hassan. It was narrated that Abdullah bin Umar said, "The Messenger of Allah said, whoever wears a garment of pride and vanity in this world, Allah will clothe him in a garment of humiliation on the day of resurrection, then set it ablaze." Great Hassan. It was narrated from Abu Dar that the Prophet said, "Whoever wears a garment of pride and vanity, Allah will turn away from him until he takes it off." Great Daif. It was narrated that Ibn Abbas said, "I heard the Messenger of Allah say, any skin that has been tanned has been purified." Great Sahih. It was narrated from Maimuna that he, meaning the Prophet, passed by a dead sheep belonging to the freed slave woman of Maimuna that had been given to her in charity. He said, "Why don't they take its skin and tan it and make us of it?" They said, "O Messenger of Allah, it is dead meat." He said, "It is only unlawful to eat it." Great Sahih. It was narrated that Salman said, "One of the mothers of the believers had a sheep that died. The Messenger of Allah had passed by it and said, it would not have harmed its owners if they had made use of its hide." Great Hassan. It was narrated that Aisha said, "The Messenger of Allah commanded that use should be made of the skins of dead animals if they were tanned." Great Daif. It was narrated that Abdullah bin Ukaim said, "There came to us a letter from the Prophet saying, no, not make use of the untanned skin and sinew of dead animals." Great Hassan. It was narrated that Abdullah bin Abbas said, "The sandals of the Prophet had two thongs doubled around their straps." Great Sahih. It was narrated that Anas said, "The sandals of the Prophet had two thongs." Great Sahih. It was narrated from Abu Huraira that the Messenger of Allah said, "When any one of you puts on his sandals, let him start with the right, and when he takes them off, let him start with the left." Great Sahih. It was narrated from Abu Huraira that the Messenger of Allah said, "None of you should walk in one sandal or in one leather sock. Let him take them both off or walk in both of them." Great Sahih. It was narrated that Abu Huraira said, "The Messenger of Allah forbade putting on sandals while standing." Great Daif. It was narrated that Ibn Umar said, "The Prophet forbade putting on sandals while standing." Great Daif. It was narrated from Ibn Burayda from his father that An-Najashi sent a pair of pure black kuth as a gift to the Prophet, of which he wore. Grade Daif. It was narrated that Abu Huraira attributed to the Prophet, the Jews and the Christians do not dye their hair, so differ from them. Grade Sahih. It was narrated from Abu Dar that the Messenger of Allah said, the best things with which you change grey hair are henna and katam. Grade Sahih. It was narrated that Uthman bin Mawhab said, I entered upon Salama and she brought out for me a hair of the Messenger of Allah, which was dyed with henna and katam. Grade Sahih. It was narrated from Jabir that he said, Abu Kuhayfa was brought to the Prophet on the day of the conquest of Mecca, and his head was all white. The Messenger of Allah said, take him to some of his womenfolk and let them change this, but avoid black. Grade Sahih. It was narrated that Suhaib al-Khair said, the Messenger of Allah said, the best thing with which you can dye your hair is this black dye. It makes your woman desire you and creates fear in the hearts of your enemies. Grade Daif. It was narrated from Sayyid bin Abu Sayyid that Ubayd bin Jurayj asked Ibn Umar, I see that you dye your beard yellow with wars. Ibn Umar said, as for my dyeing of my beard yellow with wars, I saw the Messenger of Allah dyeing his beard yellow. Grade Sahih. It was narrated that Ibn Abbas said, the Prophet passed by a man who had dyed his hair with henna and said, how handsome this is. Then he passed by another who had dyed his hair with henna and katam and said, this one is more handsome than that one. Then he passed by another who had dyed his hair yellow and said, this one is more handsome than all of them. Grade Daif. It was narrated that Abu Juhayfa said, I saw the Messenger of Allah and this part of his hair was white, meaning the tuft of hair between the lower lip and the chin. Grade Sahih. It was narrated that Humayd said, Anas bin Malik was asked, did the Messenger of Allah dye his hair? He said he did not have any white hair apart from approximately 17 or 20 hairs at the front of his beard. Grade Sahih. It was narrated that Ibn Umar said the white hair of the Prophet numbered approximately 20. Grade Sahih. It was narrated that Mujahid said, Hani said, when the Messenger of Allah entered Mecca, he had 4 braids. Grade Daif. It was narrated that Ibn Abbas said, the people of the book used to let their hair hang down, and the idolaters used to part their hair. The Messenger of Allah liked to be more like the people of the book, so the Messenger of Allah let his forelock hang down, then after that he parted it. Grade Sahih. It was narrated that Aisha said, I used to part the hair of the Messenger of Allah behind his crown and let his forelock hang down. Grade Hassan. It was narrated that Anas said, the hair of the Messenger of Allah was wavy and hung down between his ears and his shoulders. Grade Sahih. It was narrated that Aisha said, the Messenger of Allah had hair that came between his earlobes and his shoulders. Grade Hassan. It was narrated that Wa'il bin Hujr said, the Prophet saw me when I had long hair. He said, bad news, so I went away and cut it short. Then the Prophet saw me and said, I did not mean you, but this is better. Great Sahih. It was narrated from Nafi that Ibn Umar said, the Messenger of Allah forbade Qasa. He, Nafi, said, what is Qasa? He said, it means shaving part of a child's head and leaving another part. Great Sahih. It was narrated that Ibn Umar said, the Messenger of Allah forbade Qasa. Great Sahih. It was narrated that Ibn Umar said, the Messenger of Allah wore a ring of silver, then he had engraved on it the words Muhammad Rasul Allah, Muhammad the Messenger of Allah, and he said, no one should have his ring engraved like this ring of mine. Great Sahih. It was narrated that Anas bin Malik said, the Messenger of Allah had a ring made for him, and he said, I have had a ring made for me, and had it engraved, and no one should make a ring with similar engraving. Great Sahih. It was narrated from Anas bin Malik that the Messenger of Allah wore a ring of silver, in which was an Ethiopian gemstone, and the inscription, Muhammad Rasul Allah, Muhammad the Messenger of Allah. Great Sahih. It was narrated that Ali said, the Messenger of Allah forbade wearing gold rings. Great Sahih. It was narrated that Ibn Umar said, the Messenger of Allah forbade gold rings. Great Hassan. Great Hassan. It was narrated that Aisha, the mother of the believers, said, Najashi sent some jewelry as a gift to the Messenger of Allah. Among that was a gold ring with an Ethiopian gemstone. The Messenger of Allah picked it up with a stick, as if he found it distasteful, or with one of his fingers. Then he called for his daughter, Umama bint Abul As, and said, wear this, O my daughter. Great Hassan. Great Hassan. It was narrated from Ibn Umar that the Prophet used to wear his ring with the stone nearest his palm. Great Sahih. It was narrated from Anas bin Malik that the Messenger of Allah wore a silver ring with an Ethiopian gemstone, and he used to ear the stone in towards his palm. Great Sahih. It was narrated from Abdullah bin Jafar that the Prophet used to wear a ring on his right hand. Great Sahih. It was narrated that Ali said, the Messenger of Allah forbade me to wear a ring on this and on this, meaning the little finger and the thumb. Great Sahih. It was narrated from Abu Talha that the Prophet said, the angels do not enter a house in which there is a dog or an image. Great Sahih. It was narrated from Ali bin Abu Talib that the Prophet said, the angels do not enter a house in which there is a dog or an image. Great Hassan. It was narrated that Aisha said, Jibril as promised the Messenger of Allah that he would come to him at a certain hour, but he was late. The Prophet went out and there was Jibril standing at the door. He said, what kept you from entering? He said, there is a dog in the house, and we do not enter a house in which there is a dog or an image. Great Sahih. It was narrated from Abu Umama that a woman came to the Prophet and told him that her husband was away on some military campaign. She asked him for permission to make an image of a palm tree in her house, and he did not let her, or he forbade her. Great Daif. It was narrated that Aisha said, I covered a small room closet of mine, meaning from the inside, with a curtain on which there were images. When the Prophet came, he tore it down, so I made 2 pillows from it, and I saw the Prophet reclining on one of them, great Hassan. It was narrated that Ali said, "The Messenger of Allah forbade rings of gold and al-mifara, meaning the red ones, great Hassan." It was narrated that Amir al-Hajri said, "I heard Abu Rayhana, the companion of the Prophet, say, the Prophet used to forbid riding on leopard skins, great Daif." It was narrated that Muawiyah said, "The Messenger of Allah used to forbid riding on leopard skins, great Hassan."